Good morning and good evening, all, and we welcome you to New Perspectives and our continuing series on the four Mahashaktis. New Perspectives is sponsored by the LaGrasse Center here in Fountain Inn, South Carolina, and our university and the Sri Aurobindo Integral Life Center in Surat, India. And with us here today is Jayashree Blench, an active member of the LaGrasse community, and we welcome you, Jayashree. We are very eagerly looking forward to your session today on Mahakali. So welcome. Thank you for joining us on this Saturday morning. Before more formally introducing Jayashree, I'd like to make just a couple announcements. First of all, we are very excited to invite you to the LaGrasse Center's annual Sri Aurobindo Integral Yoga Retreat this summer. We'll be gathering from July 12th in Greenville, South Carolina, which is just about 20 minutes away from our center here in Fountain Inn. And our keynote speaker is Shraddhalu Ranade, who many of you already know and probably follow on YouTube. And we have several other wonderful guest speakers joining us. So it's always such a special time of the year when we have over 100 Integral Yoga community members from across the US and around the world come together. This year's theme is the quest for divinization of life, from Vedic vision to integral realization. And we're posting the website URL and dropping information in a PDF in the chat, but please do check out the details and try to join us this summer. Our second announcement is a new 11-week course called the Evolutionary Soul, Transforming Our Outer Nature from Within, which is being offered through the Hindu University of America. And Vladimir and I will be co-instructing this online journey starting April 11th. It meets every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And again, you'll see that the course details are being dropped into the chat. Everything is on our website. And lastly, we'd like to remind everyone about our bi-monthly online Sunday Sangha. Our next gathering is tomorrow from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And if you haven't joined us before, each Sangha features a special topic chosen and facilitated by one of our community members. Tomorrow, Jayashree Blench will be leading a discussion on the will of karma. So Sunday Sangha is always just a wonderful time for sharing and the community to come together in connection. So please do join us. You can find all the login details on our website under the event tabs. And now, for our distinguished speaker, let me formally introduce Jayashree Blench. Several years ago, Jayashree and her husband Robin, along with her sister Jayashree Blench and husband, moved from Texas to Fountain Inn to join our community here at LaGrasse. Jayashree is the editor of our online quarterly publication, Aspire, and a member of the 12 Qualities research team. She is also the coordinator for the LaGrasse Sunday Sangha sessions and our resident expert on the yoga of sleep, among other integral yoga areas. And just to mention, we are just very greatly appreciative of both hers and her sister's ongoing contribution to LaGrasse here. So we thank both of you, and this weekend we're featuring both of them on our programs. Just a little background about Jayashree. She was introduced to Sri Aurobindo and the Mothers Integral Yoga in 1996 when she lived in New Delhi, India, and was a member of the Gnostic Center. She's an avid reader and student of literature and philosophy, and she has immersed herself in the study of Savitri. She's a teacher by profession, first a high school teacher in Delhi, and then subsequently taught Montessori schools here in the US. So today, Jayashree's topic is Mahakali, the Divine Mother of Transformation. So Jayashree, I'm going to turn it over to you now and just ask our attendees to please remember to post any questions you have for Jayashree in the Q&A box or in the chat, and there'll be time at the end of the session for her to address. Thank you, and Jayashree, over to you.
Thank you, Radhe. Thank you very much, both to Radhe and Vladimir, for giving me this opportunity to say a few words on a very difficult subject, Mahakali. who can say anything about Mahakali? Anyhow, I'll try my best. But yes, it's been a great honor to be part of the Lawgrass community here in South Carolina. And whatever little services we could offer, we offer with all heart and soul, and completely supported by Radhe and Vladimir. So thank you once again for this opportunity. And thank you to all the members who are here today, participants, for this particular episode of New Perspectives on Mahakali. So with that, we'll start the presentation. Just a few words before I start screen sharing. Mahakali was, the New Perspective series was opened last Saturday by Amita Mehra, and she read from Sri Aurobindo's book on the mother about the Mahakali aspect of the Divine Mother. And like I said, there is very little that can be said about Mahakali's powers, because the powers of Maheshwari, Mahalakshmi, and Mahasaraswati can still be defined in everyday life. But Mahakali is a difficult power to describe, and also how she functions, because she's one of strength, power, and like Sri Aurobindo says, she is of another nature. Her nature is not like the other three aspects of the Divine Mother. Not wideness, but height. Not wisdom, but force and strength are her peculiar power. So with those few words, we'll open the presentation and try and understand a little bit about what the Mahakali power is. So I've chosen Mahakali as the Divine Mother of Transformation. She is the Divine Mother of Transformation, meaning transformation of the lower nature into the divine nature. And that is the aim. One of the aims of integral yoga is to transform this nature, this regular lower nature, which is bound by the gunas, and how the Mahakali aspect helps us in this transformation. So we'll go to the next slide. And we look at the topics that we are covering today. The Golden Mother, Mahakali, a few words about Mahakali, the attributes of Mahakali. Then we look at the forms of Mahakali. Now here I'd like to pause a little and explain why I chose forms of Mahakali. Because like I said, the Golden Mother Mahakali is very difficult to bring down and understand her workings in our life. So the form of Mahakali actually projects other aspects of herself. I don't like to say, but I'll have to say it, lesser forms or more compassionate forms that come and are accessible to the common human for our transformation here. So the Golden Mother Mahakali is a very strong force, and the Earth Mother would not be able to take the force of Mahakali as she descends. So what happens is Mahakali makes other aspects of her available. We look at those other aspects, and those are the forms of Mahakali, and how they are used and prayed to, worshipped, and accessed by us in this particular incarnation. Then the next topic would be Sri Krishna and Kali. This is a very magical and an extremely mystical combination that Sri Aurobindo uses in Savitri, and also is part of the Bengal heritage in India. Krishna and Kali are worshipped together in Bengal. It's not really something that happens in other parts of the country. And it'll be an interesting thing to see how that comes together, how Sri Aurobindo brought them together, both in Savitri and in his own life. And then the last topic would be Mahakali in the Mahabharata. I've chosen the epic of Mahabharata because her action is really very, very violent, and she comes down in full force in the Mahabharata. So, having said that, we move to the first slide. Yes, the Golden Mother. Radhe, I'm not seeing the lower half that I would like to see. Yes, thank you. So the Golden Mother, our first topic to be covered today. The Golden Mother represents the highest supramental or overmind aspect. So what is the overmind aspect in Sri Aurobindo? The overmind aspect is that realm which is close to the supramental, to the supermind. And yet it is also, its influences touch the lower aspects of creation, that is our own ignorant nature, ignorant mind. So the overmind is like a bridge gapping the ignorant mind to the supermind. And it receives all the influences, the cosmic gods are there in the overmind, and they shed their influence into the lower realms of creation. So the Golden Mother Mahakali represents that aspect of the Divine Mother's power. And in that realm, she appears golden and not dark, like we are generally used to understanding Kali as the dark, fierce, violent mother. But in the Mahakali aspect, she's golden, and she signifies divine truth and beauty in the overmind realm. She's the warrior force that destroys falsehoods and obstacles in the practitioner. Acting with speed and intensity, she hastens transformation. So the subject of transformation, or the act of transformation, is something that is hastened due to her speed and intensity. She is therefore known for her warrior force, often described as most loving. Now, the warrior force and the loving force, these are two contradictions, but they exist together in Mahakali. Often described as most loving, her love is passionate and fierce because she's a warrior mother. And what does that love do? It breaks what is weak or rebellious in the seeker to forge true strength. She is loved and worshipped by the great, strong, and noble. And the golden light that is associated with her is the light of truth, which we just saw, the supermind truth consciousness. And it is also effective for working on the physical vital level, because that is where the transformation actually takes place and happens, is in the physical vital. And then it moves into the mental. So she is most active there. And we'll see how. We'll examine that. The next slide, please.
Jayashree, I'm going to just stop screen sharing a second. I think I brought up an earlier PowerPoint of yours. Let me make sure that I'm showing the most recent here. Just give me 1 second while I close that one out.
And yeah, I don't think it's the most recent.
Yeah, so sorry about that one. Let me go ahead and show you most recent here. Okay. So here we go. This should be your most recent one from this morning.
Thank you. So the attributes of Mahakali. Mother was asked by one of the children in the school that how is the intervention of the Mahakali force felt? When we say that Mahakali intervenes for transformation, how does that happen? And the mother said, it is felt as if something swift, sudden, decisive, and imperative. So it comes down very swiftly and suddenly. And it is decisive and imperative, meaning nothing can change it once it comes down. When it intervenes, it has a kind of divine or supramental sanction behind it and is like a fiat against which there is no appeal. So once the Mahakali force acts, there is no going back on it. There is no rethinking. There is no modification of it. The adverse forces retire baffled. Also, the difficulties lose their power. I say aloud because the supreme action of Mahakali is comparatively rare. The action of the other powers or a partial action of Mahakali is more common. So like I said in the beginning, that the action of Mahakali is too strong. It would shatter everything that is on earth. So it's only a partial action of Mahakali that we, and just to give an example of what I'm talking about, if you look at the Second World War that happened, and you look at the violence and the force and the swiftness with which everything happened in the world at that time, mass destruction, and it was literally a fight against evil. Mother's fight against the evil adverse forces. And it was swift and sudden and absolutely decisive and imperative. There was nothing that could, turn the tide of events at that point when the war was on. So that is what is meant by the intervention of the Mahakali force. She represents a fierce divine love that demands intense dedication. So if we are to invoke the power of Mahakali, there has to be intense dedication and works best when the seeker has a calm and surrendered nature. So here is the coming together of the calm and self-possession of Maheshwari and of Mahasaraswati. The calm self-possession of Maheshwari, the wideness, the vastness, and of Mahasaraswati, the wisdom, the selflessness, selfless giving of oneself to the Divine Mother, the thoroughness, the perfection, and the faultless detail of Mahasaraswati, they come together. So there are three powers that act together, actually. Mahakali works only when Maheshwari's calm and wisdom is there in the sadhak, and Mahasaraswati's aspect of perfection and faultless attention to detail. So the sadhak has to be able to imbibe in themselves, the practitioner, all these three aspects. Therefore, the sadhak must also not be fearful when he invokes the Mahakali powers, but ask for her sweetness. That is the way to work with the Mahakali forces. Nolinida was asked on Mahakali how she worked. And Nolinida said she has started her work of preparation, elimination and dissolution, clearing the path for Mahalakshmi and Mahasaraswati. So that is what Mahakali does. She clears the path of all obstacles, all negativities, all adverse forces. She prepares the field. Her infinite love and compassion of Maheshwari sanctions and supports her work. So there is a supporting element of Maheshwari in the work, and of course of Mahasaraswati. So Mahakali works in a team. She brings a team along with her, and it is supporting her action. The intense power has to be mellowed with the calm. Only then it can work through the practitioner. Next slide, please. So I was talking about the forms of Mahakali. They are Goddess Durga and Goddess Kali. There are other forms of Mahakali. In fact, just to bring to our notice, we've just finished observing a Navratri in India, the 9 nights of worship to Shakti. And this is observed once around this time, March, April, Chaitra, and once in, again, towards the latter half of the year in October, when Goddess Durga in Bengal is worshipped during the last 5 days of Navratri. So it's a very important time when the forms of the goddess in her various aspects are worshipped. And then generally both these worship in the 2 times are done with the warrior force of Mahakali. Goddess Durga, she's the conquering and protecting aspect of the universal mother. She's invoked to manifest in the subtle body consciousness, acting through the Veera Bhav. Veer Bhav is the courage aspect, slaying the inner enemies like selfishness and fear. She protects the sadhak, the practitioner, against adverse forces. She embodies Maheshwari's calm, wisdom, and Mahakali's fierce intensity. So there is an interesting story of how first Mahakali was formed, and then how Goddess Durga was formed out of Mahakali. I'll just get into the story a little bit without getting into too much detail. So in the Devi Mahatmya, that is the source of the story, at the end of a former cycle, when the cosmos was asleep in the oceanic being of its own cause, and Vishnu, the Lord, was also in Yoga Nidra. He was fast asleep. 2 asuras were born out of his ear, Madhu and Kaita, and they tried to kill Brahma, the creator, dwelling in the navel of Vishnu. Upon this, Brahma asked for help from the goddess of sleep. One of the aspects of Mahakali is she is also the goddess of Nidra, of sleep, of the darkness. This goddess of sleep was lodged in the Lord's eyes. So he sang the praises of the Devi. In response, Mahakali, the terrible ruler of the night, the pitch dark, also known as the Tamas Ratri, Ratri meaning night, granted Brahma's prayer in rousing Vishnu from sleep and destroyed the 2 asuras. Mahakali thus came to be titled Madhu Kaitav Nashini, and the goddess who presides over divine tamas. Divine tamas is the nidra of the Lord. And this little story is actually given by T.V. Kapali Shastri in his collected works, Devi Puja, Volume 1, Devi Puja. So that is how the story began of Mahakali. She was roused from sleep. In Sri Aurobindo's philosophy, Mahakali is the supreme Hindu goddess of time, death, and transformation within Shaktism. Durga is the divine universal mother's power of protection and conquering force in human nature. Mahakali's power and warrior-like action and Durga's protection work together. The lion that Durga rides on represents the divine consciousness. So that is who the goddess Durga is. She is a manifestation of Mahakali, and she is the warrior force who destroys the evil Asura and allows the inner obstacles to be completely demolished, therefore, with her fight against the darkness. Now, Kali. Kali works by breaking down the old dead world, falsehoods, impurities, and egoistic resistances to prepare for a new divine creation. She is the dynamic Shakti of time and the force that destroys the limitations of ego. That is why she is seen, with that, she wears that necklace of skulls. That is actually the skull is the representation of the ego. She destroys the ego, which is lodged in the mental part of humanity, and that's why she decorates herself with the skulls. But in doing that, she's actually creating a new creation. She's giving way to the new creation to manifest itself. Sri Aurobindo viewed Kali as Krishna. Kali and Krishna together, revealed as intense power. When these two powers come together, the destroying power of Kali and the divine love of Krishna, it forms an intense power together. In his own life, he moved from devotee of Kali to worshipper of Krishna. And this is a very interesting part of Sri Aurobindo's life. In 1909, Sri Aurobindo was very much engaged in the freedom fight. And at that point, he went to a little shrine near the Narmada River and actually had a very intense experience of Kali there. And he was not in any way given to yoga at that point in time, in the deep way that he started later. But he understood that if India was to free itself, then the power of Kali was an important aspect. And so he worshipped Kali for a long time, as he even chanted the mantras of Kali to invoke her power to help assist in the freedom of the country. And it was when he went to Alipur jail that he saw the power of Sri Krishna and understood how Krishna and Kali work together. So we will go to the next slide, please. Radhe, I'm not seeing the bottom half of my notes, which I would like to refer to while I'm looking at this slide. No, it doesn't come up. So can I pull up my...
You want to just give me 1 second, see if you can see it now?
Yes, and I saw it at that time. Can you do it again?
What would you like? Do you would like me to screen
Yeah,
share?
sure. I'll see the note. Yes, please.
So go ahead and Like this?
No, with the notes.
Okay, so that should be like this.
I don't see the notes. Yes, now I do.
Okay.
Now I don't. It's
You
going
can
back
pull
and
those
forth.
up on your own computer if you want, Jayashree. Just minimize this.
She wants to see the notes from
Yes.
from
I
your
know, I know.
presentation.
I know, but you don't want me to page down, do you? You don't
No,
want.
just to a little to move it up a little bit that she sees the notes. No, just to move it up, the whole thing. Notes up, not
Okay,
that.
one second. How do I move the notes up?
Yeah, you go there with your mouse to this thin line and draw it up.
Oh, okay. Like that?
Yeah.
More.
Yes.
You need more?
No, she has to see the notes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, this is good.
Good.
Okay, no.
Yeah, thank you. So looking at the combination of Krishna and Kali in Sri Aurobindo is very important because it is one of the major aspects of Sri Aurobindo's work. We see Krishna and Kali in Savitri. We see Krishna and Kali as a very important combination of the two divine deities in the work of transformation, and in Savitri, and in the work of transformation, as like Sri Aurobindo says, in 1938, combination of Sri Krishna and Mahakali is one that has great power in yoga. In the record of yoga, the idea of personal mission as karma is made possible by the union of Krishna and Kali in one's being, as noted by Sri Aurobindo in Karma Yogin. Kali, when she enters into a man, cares nothing for rationality or possibility. What is Kali's work, therefore? How are they together? They make the personal mission of karma possible. Kali destroys the ego, which is the most important aspect in transformation. In the Karma Yoga, the first thing that has to go is the ego with its personal desires for the fruit of action. And this is where the role of Kali comes in. The combination of Krishna now is the love and the submission to the divine will of the practitioner. That is the combination of Krishna and Kali. When the submission of when the practitioner realizes that they are not the doer of the action, therefore they do not have the right to the fruit of the action. They see who is the real doer. It is Prakriti with her modes of nature. It's the Divine Mother who is doing the action because she's sanctioned. She's been given the sanction by the Lord. The Lord sanctions the work that Prakriti carries out. So the ego of the doer, the personal ego, that I'm the doer, has to go. And this is where Kali's force acts in the practitioner. And to help the ego remove itself from the path of the true central consciousness, there has to be the submission of the will to the divine through loving devotion. And this loving devotion is the aspect of Krishna. So that is how Krishna and Kali come together in the transformation of the worker to its divine state. For her, being the force of nature, nothing is impossible. Even before Sri Aurobindo knew anything about the yoga, he had experienced the living presence of Kali in that little temple in Narmada. The action also of the French Revolution, Sri Aurobindo said, was actually the dance of Kali. So we can see how much the Krishna-Kali combination was there in Sri Aurobindo. In Thoughts and Aphorisms, Aurobindo says, Kali is Krishna revealed as dreadful power and wrathful love. Wrathful love, tough love. She slays with her furious blows the self in body. Mind you, the self with a small s. Life and mind in order to liberate it as spirit eternal. And lastly, how shall he attain to Krishna who has never worshipped Kali? This is from Aphorism 540. And the earlier one was Aphorisms 519. If for further interest, if people are interested to look into these aphorisms, Mother has given beautiful explanations on these aphorisms. But we'll move on to our next slide because, yeah, Krishna and Kali in Savitri. Now, this is my favorite part of the presentation is looking for the Krishna-Kali force in Savitri. I'm going to read out certain passages from Savitri, and you'll be able to understand what is meant, what Sri Aurobindo means by the Krishna-Kali force. My first reference is from The Yoga of the Spirit's Freedom and Greatness, Book 1, Canto 5. This is Sri Aurobindo starting his yoga in Book 1, Canto 5, the Book of Beginnings. In a divine retreat from mortal thought, in a prodigious gesture of soul sight, his being towered into pathless heights, naked of its vesture of humanity. As thus it rose to meet him bare and pure, a strong descent leaped down, a might, a flame, a beauty half visible with deathless eyes, a violent ecstasy, a sweetness dire enveloped him with its stupendous limbs and penetrated nerve and heart and brain that thrilled and fainted with the epiphany. His nature shuddered in the unknown's grasp. In a moment, shorter than death, longer than time, by a power more ruthless than love, happier than heaven, taken sovereignly into eternal arms, hailed and coerced by a stark absolute bliss, in a whirlwind circuit of delight and force, hurried into unimaginable depths, upborne into immeasurable heights. It was torn out from its mortality and underwent a new and boundless change. This is Sri Aurobindo's King Ashwapati's Yoga in Savitri's Canto 5, whereby the descent of the Krishna-Kali force, there's a complete physical transformation, even in the nerve and tissue. and every part of the body, along with the vital and the mental. I should read another extract from page 346. This is book 3, the book of the Divine Mother. Ashwapati has just finished his yoga, and the Divine Mother grants him a boon. He asks for a descent of her form in order to help mankind. And the Divine Mother says, "O strong forerunner, I have heard thy cry. One shall descend and break the iron law, change nature's doom by the lone spirit's power, a limitless mind that can contain the world, a sweet and violent heart of ardent calms, moved by the passions of the gods, shall come." Further down, "A seed shall be sown in death's tremendous hour, a branch of heaven transplant to human soil. Nature shall overleap a mortal step, fate shall be changed by an unchanging will." The Divine Mother is granting him the boon of Savitri. Savitri, who will be an aspect of Mahakali. And these are the qualities: limitless mind, sweet and violent heart, ardent calm, passions of the gods, a seed sown in death's tremendous hour. Only the power of Mahakali can fight with death, can change what he says here. Fate shall be changed by an unchanging will. And the last reference, there is another reference, but due to time's paucity, I should just go to the last reference, which is very important. On page 711, this is from book 11, The Soul's Choice and Supreme Consummation, as Savitri is returning to earth with the soul of Satyavan. Pursuing her in her fall, implacably sweet, a face was over her which seemed a youth's, symbol of all the beauty eyes see not, crowned as with peacock plumes of gorgeous hue, framing a sapphire whose heart-disturbing smile, insatiably attracted to delight, voluptuous to the embraces of her soul. Changed in its shape, yet rapturously the same, it grew a woman's, dark and beautiful, like a mooned night with drifting, star-gemmed clouds, a shadowy glory and a stormy depth, turbulent in will and terrible in love. Eyes in which nature's blind ecstatic life sprang from some spirit's passionate content, missioned her to the whirling dance of earth. So Savitri, as she's descending with Satyavan, is accompanied by both Krishna first, and then his beautiful youthful face changes into Kali's face. So the Krishna Kali power in Savitri. And there are other instances also which one can read as if you're interested. And then the last slide with which I will conclude today's presentation is just a few instances of how Mahakali appears in the Mahabharata. It's the divine play of Shakti. the entire Mahabharata can be seen as that divine play of Shakti, as the destructive force to oversee the final destruction of the Kaurava army in Kurukshetra war, marks the total annihilation of those who have embraced adharma. Krishna here again using the power of Kali to completely destroy adharma as it was seen in the Kaurava dynasty. So in the character of Arjuna, the main protagonist, Arjuna invokes her presence. He prays to Kali before the war, invokes her presence for victory before the Kurukshetra war. And Krishna told him to do that. A war that was fought to restore dharma. She appears and grants him a boon. Then in the case of Draupadi, Draupadi was the wife of the 5 Pandavas, and she was born of fire. She was not born the natural, normal way that children are born. She was the fruit of a yajna, of a sacrificial fire done by King Drupad. Draupadi is an incarnation of Kali. She is the instrument through whom Krishna achieves the destruction of adharma. She is the cause of the war of Kurukshetra. One of the causes, because the cause begins with as usual, with a very insignificant incident where she laughed at Duryodhana for some silly thing that he did, and he took it as a major insult, never forgot it. And as a result, he wanted to avenge himself on her. And so she was dragged into the court, and his brother Dusashan tried to disrobe her. At that point, she calls on Krishna, because her 5 husbands, all the 5 Pandavas who are sitting there, are totally helpless. They've lost the game of dice. And she calls upon Krishna, and he comes and saves her honor in the court. And at that point, the war of Kurukshetra is decided, because she vows that she will leave her hair open till Duryodhana is killed, and with his blood only, she will wash her hair and then dye it. So this humiliation of the Kauravas and succeeding humiliation of Draupadi becomes the cause of the war, and also serves Krishna's purpose, because the time had come for the age to change. And these were all the instruments that played their part. Krishna is also seen as Kali, Kala, time. Radha is Kali through her love and devotion. Yashoda, the mother who looked after Krishna, is the spiritual mother of Krishna, biological mother being Devaki, who was in the prison. Kunti is Kali, with her restraint and inner strength. And Gandhari in the Mahabharata is Kali, as the power of tapas. So with that, I shall close the presentation. Thank you, Radhe, for sharing. We can go back and open to any comments, questions. Please feel free. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It is really a very important topic, and difference of that, what you defined by Sri Aurobindo, the golden light and the black and dark, which is working already in the lower nature. Yes. And by the way, Kala is also time and Kala is dark. And in that sense, she is, by the definition, by Sanskrit definition, yes, dark and time, and Krishna is also dark blue or even black. So these kind of indications of color are quite interestingly matching. Yes, so Kala and Kali as dark and Krishna as dark, as it were. Of course, Krishna's highest light is blue, light blue like the sky. But still, in this lower hemisphere, they have to do this work of the war and shifting towards a new dharma. So the old dharma has to be replaced, which was done by how you beautifully described with Draupadi and other female personnel of this story. Yes, Gandhari is also absolutely Kali, yes. Moreover, she kills Krishna himself with her curse. So
yes.
These are the female persons who are really embodying Kali, and this very good intuition that the whole Mahabharata is actually some event of Kali, in a way. Yeah, because it's all centered about this shift of dharma from older to newer. There is a question to you here. The god Shiva, this is actually, I will join this question. The god Shiva is also very often paired with Kali. Of course, yes. How else? In fact, their pairing is probably more common known than Kali with Krishna.
Yes.
This is unique to Sri Aurobindo, Kali and Krishna, and maybe to Bengal.
Yes.
Why is that pairing less represented with Sri Aurobindo? What do you think?
Well, I can only guess at an answer, which I feel is that Sri Aurobindo's personal experience was Krishna and Kali. Krishna in the Alipur jail was a very living presence, and Kali before that in his work for the freedom of India. So he saw that as a good combination that was instrumental at the turn of every age. Even the Second World War actually was a turn of an age. And we see the Mahakali aspect there. And Mother, it was Mother's war, Mother representing divine love and compassion. And at the same time, the intense warrior spirit of Kali. So all I can say is that it was Sri Aurobindo's personal experiences with Krishna and Kali that made him talk more about this combination than the other. I don't know, please feel free, Radhe and Vladimir.
Well, what you said already, that this Krishna represents very important power of shift of dharma from one age to another. In that sense, Shiva is, he is more, how to say, he's more Ashutosha, easily kind of invoked and giving gifts left and right to all different tapasvins and even sometimes to Rakshasas and Asuras. He is compassionate with all. But Krishna is more for this shift. I agree with this shift of dharma from one age to another. He had to provide that shift. And Kali is the most, of course, useful force for this. Yes, the true warrior, which can really remove the old dharma and open the space for a new dharma for Krishna to establish. And in that sense, most probably, that's why Krishna descended into Sri Aurobindo's body. And we know the incident with Mother and Shiva, yes, where Shiva refused to enter into this physical body. And he said he will come when everything is done. So in a way, it shows that preference, yes? Why Krishna and not Rudra in his mighty power? But Mother says it was such a great force that if he would come already as a supramental force. So in that sense, it is too early for him to come, let us say that way.
Yeah.
Well, these are only thinkings from what we know, yes, from Sri Aurobindo.
It's a good question. Yes, it is a good question.
Wonderful, wonderful story and
Another
wonderful.
question there too, or comment, Vladimir, in the Q&A.
Okay. Draupadi is also referred to as Krishna. Interesting. Yeah?
Yes.
Most
Yes.
probably should be. Yes, absolutely. Purnima says. I understand why now, other than just a reference to her color, Draupadi called Krishna her brother. Interesting. Well, how much symbolism our mythologies have. Absolutely. It's much deeper than we really see
Yes,
on the
of course.
surface.
Of course.
You know, one thing that came to mind, Jayashree, as you were speaking, wonderful, wonderful presentation, and this whole connection between Krishna and Kali, I never really totally appreciated until today. So thank you so much for emphasizing and explaining that. But what came to mind as you were speaking was that, as you know, a disciple had asked, you know, why isn't love one of the four Mahashakti powers, right? We have knowledge, we have destruction, we have harmony, and we have perfection. But why not love, right? And the answer, which now makes sense to me, because I always wondered why not love, is because until we have that destruction, as you mentioned, of the ego, right, and that psychic being can come forward, and that Krishna's love that's in the heart of every person, and the Ananda that the psychic being has, at that point, love, it seems to me, will come automatically. That we can't experience that Krishna love and obviously the mother's love until that ego is dispersed, and it's going to take the Kali, the transformation to happen.
Yes.
So I appreciate it, and it's just wonderful. I also, you know, thinking of her as that dark mother of the night, and being able to really transform the most difficult transformation, as you mentioned, the tamasic, the physical and the vital physical is really critical. So I thank you so much. I don't know if there's one other. You see, there's something else in the Q&A box.
Thank you very much for a very
Yes.
beautiful presentation. Yes, absolutely.
From your sister.
Thank you. Thank you.
And about this force of love, one thought comes to me. This is something greater. Yes, it belongs to Mahakali. It is her innermost nature. But when she comes with that love, there is no really, vehicle to carry it. So she begins destruction of the vehicle to make it suitable for her love, absolute love towards the divine. And somewhere Mother says that new forces will come. Not only these, what we know as Satchitananda, but there are, in this infinity of storage of the divine, there are new powers, and they will be manifested later. And one of them is the power of love. And most probably that is more active, less kind of perceptive bliss force. Yes, we are more receiving the bliss, but the love is an active bliss, as it were. We need to prepare ourselves for that in the future.
Otherwise, it might shatter us, just like Mahakali's force of destruction can shatter. You know, we have to prepare for that love.
But again, it seems to me that love that I mentioned as that other power that will come. You know, once the ego is actually more than transformed, is replaced by the psychic being, which is of Ananda, which is of that bliss and that love, then that will be accessible. We'll be able to hold that love and that energy at that time. But it first takes that Mahakali to destroy, as you mentioned, the ego.
Yes.
But, well, thank you so very much. It was absolutely wonderful. I'm sorry I slipped up a little bit on your slides there, but
not at all.
you managed through excellently, and we really thank you. We also have moved Pradnam here, and she will be speaking next Saturday. She is the founder and CEO of iThrive, and she will carry on the discussion of Mahakali and speak about her personal and universal transformation aspect of Mahakali. So we look forward to doing that. And thank you once again, Jayashree. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.